Hi, how are y'all doing? Tonight we're going to talk about the royal family. We're going to do a little royal family news roundup here where we get to talk about Prince William, King Charles, Princess Kate, Queen Camilla, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle. And all we're doing is sort of running through the news. Yes, you could call it royal gossip, but what history is pretty much gossip. And it's putting together details of what you get and trying to reconstruct what the truth is, right? So let's talk about it. And I want to welcome everybody, whether you're pro royal family, you have your favorite ones, your least favorite ones. We all have our opinions, but we want to hear everybody's opinions and we're welcome to it. And they can be totally contrary to what some of us are saying. Sorry. So I'm Deanna from Hot for History. I welcome all of you guys here. We're going to talk about this news that's been out on whether or not William and Kate especially are bowing to Queen Camilla especially, and what's behind all of that. So please subscribe, please tell your friends, please share this video because we're going to talk about it live. We'd like to put your questions and your comments up here because they're so much fun. Hi, everybody. Where are you from? I am right now in the Midwest for the summer. If you hear a train going, I'm like in the middle of Train Central. There's just all these great trains because it's a small little town. There's also a guy with a puppy next door, but the puppy's so cute that I'm just going to let him bark. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. Welcome, everybody. Hi from New Jersey. Hi from Florida, California, and all of that. Okay, so first we're going to talk because there's been a couple of questions. There was a question by Coconut Vanilla. Doesn't protocol require the whales to bow? And I want to welcome also my friend E.H. Bunny, who I haven't seen in a while. They are required to bow at least once per day to their superiors. There's no proof they didn't bow before the ceremony. Yes. So this is a very good point that she brings up. Okay. So oftentimes we're dealing with the drama of the press. Like the press is like, oh my gosh, they didn't bow. They didn't bow. But what happens is if they've already seen them, they've bowed, and now they don't have to bow every time they walk past them, right? So there's two situations that we're going to talk about, these bows, like, oh my gosh, Kate didn't bow. Oh my goodness, William didn't bow. What's that all about? So we're going to talk about in a second. I'm going to read this article. Hey from Brooklyn. Man, Brooklyn is so fun. I hope that New York is sort of being able to sort of calm themselves down after that 2-hour chase that they had in Manhattan. Hi from Montreal. And Judith, if they have seen the king or queen that morning, they do not need to bow curtsy again. Yeah, and I would think the exception would be, okay, they're at some kind of formal event like the coronation, and that may be, what it is. Okay, Central California, Kate refused to bow Camilla on the coronation. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to read this to you. Well, I don't even need to read it in all honesty. I can just basically tell you. I'm giving Kate the benefit of the doubt. Yes. Although, it is kind of a funny thought to think that, okay, I'm upset with you. And one way I'm going to show you because, we're not going to have a knockdown, drag out yelling. I'm just not going to bow to you. Like when my daughter was like 2 years old, and I remember I had this gig in Monte Carlo with my band. And so my sister came over and helped take care of her. And I was there for 4 months. And if she was mad at my sister, she would go, mommy, push. I don't want you to push the stroller. Only mom gets to do it. So it's sort of like, I wonder if this is their way to, kind of like a silent protest. Just saying, probably not. Probably so we're from Dallas or from Wisconsin. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. So what happened? I'm sorry, I do not have the clip. I can't really show it because it was on another platform. But what happened was that regarding Will. So there was the coronation concert. So there's a clip that's just coming out now where Camilla and Charles walk by everybody. So Kate bows, everybody bows, but then William's like, no. But I think he just didn't honestly see her because his back was sort of turned and then he bowed to his dad. But some people are reading a lot into it. I'm learning that the British press is very dramatic. Like they're very dramatic. So they're basically saying because his mom was so, should be the queen, and that maybe Prince William is just not showing her respect because he knows he's going to be the king next. That's what some people are saying, that he's not doing that. And then it is true that when somebody asks him who his kids' grandparents are, they have one grandmother, which is Carol Middleton, and two grandfathers. He will not include Camilla, and I think Camilla's totally 1,000% fine with that, but that is something. Let me see what you're saying. Prince George was part of the ceremony. I am sure they bowed when they delivered their kid to their father. Yeah, so let's talk about what they're saying. So anyhow, now the buzz is like, oh my gosh, he didn't bow, so there must be something deeper to it. Maybe he saw her an hour before. Maybe, honestly, what happens if they sometimes forget and it's a concert in a stadium? Like, sometimes they might forget. I doubt they will. I mean, most of the time they probably don't, but they might forget. So this next situation was a little bit more possibly a snub, in my opinion. So the coronation had a lot of drama behind the scenes, apparently, according to British press. So I like to qualify it with saying, according to British press, not only was Kate upset, but William was upset because Camilla had her guest list be like all of her kids, grandkids, like the whole family. And yet Kate doesn't have a huge family. She has a brother and a sister. She couldn't invite her sister-in-law or her brother-in-law to the coronation. And that rubbed them the wrong way. They were basically given a limited amount of tickets, and so she didn't like it. So the word on the street is that many people that day didn't bow to Camilla when she walked back down. What do you guys think? I'm really curious. How expensive is it to live in the UK? Probably like living in New York. Okay, so you can only be sure if you saw it. Okay, at the coronation, the people were bowing, curtsying to the monarch as sovereign, not his wife. Yeah, but I think they were supposed to bow to her too. But maybe I'm wrong. I think they were supposed to bow to her as well when she walked by, because they were together, right? Are Kate and the Queen friends? As far as I know, they're on pretty good terms. I think they're fine. But I do think I don't think, Will and Harry both, I don't think they're huge fans of Camilla. They accept that their dad married her. But I think the way William expresses his dislike is probably just a little bit of coldness, but I think they also coexist probably very well. I don't think they're overly warm with each other. So I don't know. But William bowed during the ceremony to his father. Yes, the UK press is dramatic, but they were dramatic over Meghan too. That is true. They're dramatic in general. And so, all of this, what we're doing, and we're forming our opinions, is taking what we know. And this is what history does. And that's why, honestly, history is so incomplete, and why we find so many mistakes in it, even from the past. That is why people get so ticked off on history videos. Like, I have people fighting, yelling, calling me names, calling other people names for having different opinions, because we're reconstructing, trying to find the truth, and we don't really know. So if somebody says to me, shame on you for saying something bad about Meghan, shame on you for something, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't really accept that shame. I'm trying to just figure it out. I'm giving you my opinion based on what I see, while simultaneously acknowledging that the information I have is not my firsthand experience. So we're just trying to put this all together. So Camilla has said publicly that she does not want to fill the role. Yes. Yeah. And that is very, very true. And I hear that they're all okay with that. Now, many of us do know that Camilla's reputation, at one point, she was known as, honestly, the most hated women, I don't know if in the world or whatever. Everybody hated her, and they worked so hard to bring her, kind of like her image up. I think they did a great job, but I don't think she's ever going to get over what we've called that phantom with, like, Princess Diana and the whole experience. I'm sorry. And she's just not as dynamic as some other people, right? She's just perfect for the king, perfect that they're together, right? But she's not like anybody where we're all like swooning over her. But I think she's probably going to do a fine job. But, you know, I don't think anybody's really super excited about her. And I think I would never not know I wasn't bowing. You would never not know if you weren't bowing to. So in other words, it would be intentional, right? Is that what you're saying, Evelyn? Like, if you weren't like, I think that Kate knew that she wasn't bowing to the queen on Coronation Day, but I also think that Kate is so obedient that I don't know. I mean, it's possible that she just like, oops, I forgot. Okay, so now let me see if there's any other things. Watching you all willing to excuse the whales is. Well, I mean, look, we're not excusing anybody. Like, I mean, if she bowed to her, if she didn't bow to her, which is the equivalent of flipping her off. I mean, it's just that's not. She's supposed to abide by protocol, so we're not really saying that she should. We're just saying that we think that that might have been what happened. I wonder what William will do to Camilla after King Charles passes away. Well, she would be known as the Dowager Queen. Obviously, she would probably still have that title, but I know that the Queen Mother, Elizabeth, Prince Philip was known to want to get her into Clarence House and away from Buckingham Palace. And the rumor was that he turned down the heat in her part of the palace in order to get her to go over to Clarence House. So I'm sure they'll have a place for Camilla if he passes away first, right? But I don't think the big question, people are wondering if he will give his mother back the HRH title. Well, according to the late queen, Camilla is queen consort, not queen. It's Charles becoming king is the ceremony. So, Aaron, there's so many different, I guess, thoughts and wisdom on this. Like, okay, so this is what I've always been taught. And I say this now this way because I also have heard some other things. I was taught that there's different types of queens. There's dowager, regnant, queen mother, queen consort, and then the reigning queen, right? I may have missed something, but anyhow, so consort or regnant is just the title of the type of queen. It would be like we're all having ice cream, but you're having chocolate and you're having mint chip. Right. So you don't always have to say we're having mint chip or chocolate ice cream. You can say we're having ice cream. And so I was told that you would call her queen because, you called the queen mother queen. You didn't always call her queen mother. You didn't call, Alexandra always, queen dowager, although sometimes you would. So they would just be the queen. However, with my saying that, because that's what I've always believed, there is this like buzz out there where people are like, hey, no, did you hear that Princess Anne was like, hey, don't forget, you are not the queen. I guess we'll call you the queen consort. But they still call him the queen because of the same reason. So there seems to be a debate, in other words, So, yeah, I would never bow to that woman. Well, we're, in America, we don't really bow to anybody. So unfortunately, the UK is very expensive and getting worse by the day. That would have nothing to do with Camilla. King Charles is the admin organized the tickets. Okay. Well, okay. Well, I'm just saying that as far as the news is concerned, that was apparently why. Well, he may, but you know what, Chris? You know what, Judith? Okay. You know how it is when you're in a relationship? He may technically have the okay, but if his wife is like, honey, these are the tickets I want. Like, I'm sorry. I think that she probably influenced him, right? Okay, so here's the big question. Kate showed up at this Chelsea Flower Show looking beautiful in this pink suit. I don't know if this particular picture is the one at the Chelsea Flower Show because she repurposes suits all the time, but I did see a shot of her in the suit and she looked great. She made me want to get like a monochromatic suit. But apparently Charles used to have all these problems with jealousy with Diana. He's like, why are you overshadowing me? Now, I think he's on good terms with Kate in general. I'm sure it's not perfect, but I think in general, as far as in-laws, I think they do well. I do. I think they do well. But apparently she got all of this press. And then this was one of the first public outings or whatever with Queen Camilla and Charles, and they were supposed to get more attention, but Kate got the attention. Now, we've heard this kind of story with Meghan. Like Meghan had an appearance. I don't know when it was. It was obviously 2018, 2019. And apparently this was the same thing. Like she appeared like on the papers and the Queen and everybody else wasn't in the paper. Whatever. Some papers are just going to like run with some kind of story. Do you think the king is jealous of whoever? Princess Kate, do you think that she is? Okay, I'm going to read these other questions and then you guys can answer. In other events such as the Christmas concert, they bowed to Camilla. I think British media wants more drama. Yeah. So, but do you think, I kind of feel like it was true, like regarding the, I don't know, the invitation thing, or do you think that what was happening in the coronation, they're all dressed up, the king and queen walk down together and they're kind of bowing together. And they just didn't see a double. They didn't see her double down. It's like one bow. Like, do you have to bow twice? I think it's just one bow. They moved together and then they got up, right? Although Kate's bows are pretty fast. I don't know. So I'm just curious. I want to know what you think. Like, do you think that the coronation, that Kate intentionally dissed Camilla? Like, I'm sorry, because apparently a lot of people didn't bow. And I think at the concert, I think Will probably maybe just didn't get it. But I don't put it past him not bowing to her and whatever. The royal said Prince Harry wouldn't be on the balcony because he wasn't a working royal. Camilla's grandkids were on the balcony and they are not working. So yeah, I noticed that too. So a lot of hypocrisy. They're all like, it's like watching a soap opera. Wait, who was my friend who was talking? Coconut Vanilla. Okay. It's like a soap opera. Nobody's, poop smells good, like they're all messed up. And so, why did the royal family make all those stupid excuses? And then all of a sudden we see like the balcony shot was like, the king and Camilla, and then all of Camilla's families and friends, and then tucked over to the side, like Princess Anne was in the background. Like it was, I think it was an awful balcony situation. I don't think it was good at all. So I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, so let's see. The truth came out about Meghan and Harry car chase and what they stated was true. You were dehumanizing them. Nope, I don't dehumanize anybody. Them due to the false reporting that initially came out. Well, I don't know if it's false reporting. So they were in a chase that was not a 2.5 hour like wild car chase, as they said. Was the paparazzi on them for 2.5 hours? Yeah. Was it probably scary to him? Yeah. Did I dehumanize? No, I'm reporting things that I'm seeing. And most of us don't think that it's possible to have 2 hours in New York City with a wild chase like that, because that's how dramatic they were making it to be catastrophic. Was it scary to him? Probably. Was it, as possible as they were making it out to be? Most likely not. So could Harry have managed his security better? Yeah. So I'm not dehumanizing anybody. I think they're all messed up. And I also think that they all have redeeming qualities, every single one of them. And do I have my favorites? Yes. But we're all talking. You're allowed to have your favorites too. But I'm not dehumanizing anybody. I'm reading the news. Camilla doesn't deserve a bow. And oftentimes I'm repeating these questions in other people's comments. Doesn't deserve a bow. And she's not above the actual prince. So yeah. And so some people will think that way. I mean, I don't know how William or or Harry. I don't know. That would be a hard one for me. I'm a little rebellious. I don't know if I would be able to. I mean, I'd have to just, I guess, bow to her, but I don't know if I would do it with joy. I don't know if I would. Thank you, Christine. I'll tell everybody that story a little bit later. The British press keeps after Meghan. Why do they persist so much? Well, I do think that there's some truth to, I think that there's some truth into what Harry has said. I think that both the British press and what they call the Royal Rota or whatever, I think they throw out those stories as deflection. It's like, look over there, like, don't see this, but see that. And then I think Harry and Meghan do it too. So I think they all do it. So what's true and what's not, we don't know. We just don't know. But hopefully when they give us news, it's not going to be something that's totally impossible, because at that point you're like, wait, that makes no sense. And that's why I think the whole near catastrophic, there were things that they could have done in that car chase. They could have come into a hotel. They could have called, there's a million things they could have done, but I'm not going to revisit that one. What will Camilla be when William is king? Well, assuming that obviously Prince Charles, or the King Charles, has passed and she's alive, then she would be Queen Dowager, because that means that she is the widow of the king. Camilla is the oh my gosh, I don't know if everyone remembers this, but that's a funny joke. The coronation would have been different if Princess Diana was alive and became queen. Yeah, I mean, we sort of took a minute to sort of imagine that, what it could have been. I'm sort of a romantic. I want to believe, that all of that could have happened. Maybe they could have worked on their relationship. Maybe Harry and William both and their, wives could have seen that moment. What a beautiful thing, had it worked out. In many ways, I feel like they weren't compatible. In other ways, they kind of were, so I don't know. I would not bow to Camilla ever. The great job they did to help Camilla's reputation was on the back of Harry. They did, in order to, they would deflect stories just like Harry said. But I think that there were a lot of situations like that. I even think that probably many things that people were saying about Diana were because they were trying to get Camilla to look great. Okay. Anyone is entitled to express their opinion, feeling, even if they don't appeal to some people. Still, it should be respected. Yes, I agree with that. I've met Camilla and it was horrible. She's awful. Ooh, tell us more. I saw them bowing. Okay, so I think this news, I think they're picking up on a little thing. Just like I'm gonna get into a can of worms in a second. So I'm gonna get into this next. Hold on. Okay, so let's talk about the news with Harry and Meghan now. Is any of this true? Harry's people categorically deny that he's like off sleeping somewhere else, and yet a lot of people are saying that he is. And then the other thing, okay, so Prince Harry wanted to leave. So yeah, so now he's trying to clarify, look, it wasn't Meghan. I wanted to leave the royal family before. So it's possible that Meghan gave him the courage to, to leave. Princess Kate is wearing a lot of slacks lately. She didn't wear pants while the Queen was alive. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I like her suits. I like that. I like that in general. She has her own home. Okay, Kate. Okay, Kate humiliated the Queen in front of the world, right? Okay, here's the thing about me. We already acknowledged that she probably did that on purpose. We discussed that. Am I going to like go off on a tangent about it like forever? No, and I'm not going to get in an argument with you. I like that you're here, but I'm not going to go off on that. We already know that it looks like she didn't bow, but other people are like, yes, she did, because she did one bow. So we don't know. King Charles changed her title to queen after his mother died. Yeah. And then that's the confusion. And then what we think, what we said before, again, we don't know if this is true, but it's highly intriguing to me, was that there was some kind of deal made with her getting the queen title at all. In other words, and I'll repeat this, you guys can let me know if you've heard this too. There was a book out, and the author, I'm sorry, his name escapes me right now. It wasn't Paul Burrell, it was another author. He swears that the reason why Camilla has that title was because of a quid pro quo deal that the queen made with Charles. And yet some of the stuff doesn't make sense. In other words, there was something going on with Andrew where they needed some inheritance money or something. This is the part that I'm not quite sure, but this is what everybody's saying. And it was like $12 million or something for Andrew and for his mess. So the king was like, okay, mommy, if you're going to do that, fine, but I want something in return. And what I want in return is for my bride to be called the queen. Does that sound like something that's possible to you? It does to me. She's a great charity worker. Yes, she is. Will Camilla be the king's mother? No. And I feel like he wants to keep that away. Okay. Camilla and many more on Great Britain news says her health is not good. I've heard that too. What was it? What was the condition again? Was it like an inflammation? I don't know. I can't remember what the condition was. So we don't know. I mean, she could go before him. I don't know. I think William and his family has a cordial relationship with Camilla, but she is not his mother. Yeah. He said that Diana is very present in his family, so his children know that I bet they've worked really hard to keep the memory alive. And I think that that's the same with Harry and Meghan. Nobody should bow to the queen queen concubine. Oh, well, and that's the kind of title that they're trying to erase, but so many still feel that way. I mean, because it's not a lie. It's not a lie. Except then she married him, right? But they had to pull strings to do that. Camilla will never be king. Oh, Camilla will never be king mom if Charles dies first. She'll never be queen mother. She'll never be queen mother. She will be queen dowager. She'll never be queen mother because she's not the mother of King William, he'll become king. Okay. Princess Anne is an amazing royal. Yes, she's very hardworking. After Charles dies, Camilla will become the Dowager Queen. That is correct. I love Princess Anne too. I think she works really hard. She's the reason why Harry was given the media bad publicity. And I don't put it past them. I think in some of the stuff that we're seeing, it's quite possible. Now, I wasn't able to pull up this one article, but we know that Harry lost his last case, but there are like 3 more, I think, lawsuits that he's going after. So he's still going to address, some issues with the press. And maybe in that, some of this drama will come out. The jealousy is like Diana all over again. That's what they're saying. Camilla is going to pay a big price if King Charles passes first. Her life is not going to be good if Charles passes first. I don't know. I think they'll still, she'll probably have a nice place to stay, etc. But I don't think William is, he'll probably toe the line a little bit. Do you guys think that Harry will come back into the family? Camilla is going to pay a big price. Okay, Camilla is the wife of the reigning queen, so not main queen. That's right. Okay, so let's explain it as the queen. She is the type of queen she is, queen consort. Whether we say it or not, she is the queen consort. So we can say queen or whatever, but she is not a reigning queen. She is not a queen that is going to be able to really have a lot of authority. So, but she is the queen, but she's a queen consort, right? So that's the type of queen she is. He can't mess up with Kate. She is our beloved one. He will lose if he did. Are you talking about William? Because I probably missed something. Harry's book said Charles controlled the money. Yes, which controlled how much work then Cambridges were able to do. Now the Waleses have their own money, so they are in control of what events they do. So when you're talking about you're saying like when they were Cambridges, Coconut, like you're saying like when they were Cambridges, he controlled the money. Now that they're the Waleses, they have their own. I heard that, they were kind of complaining because they were working so hard. We do know that Meghan and Harry were working really hard when they were in there too. But the money things is a real issue. We did a video on the money thing, I don't know, a couple of videos ago, because many of us think, oh my gosh, there's so much money, there's billions. And there is, but they honestly, like Meghan and Harry, I don't think had that much money from the royal family to do what they were supposed to do. And then it kind of limits what you're able to actually make because you're within those confines. So you're always having to ask daddy for your money, right? So that would wear on me. I would be like, ooh, like that would be a hard thing. So their choices were to go to the United States or go somewhere and start their own businesses and still be senior royals. But the complaint that many people have is the way and what they did in order to make the money, because Harry especially didn't have that much experience, I don't know, outside of the royal confines, like doing what he did. So that is where the big complaint is. But as far as them having money, as we know, it really wasn't a lot compared to what's out there when you're kind of, in relationships with people that, have startups or, like there's people with a lot more money, even within royal circles, than what Harry had. So, and not to say that it wasn't like that he had a lot of money. It's just that he was limited. He really was limited. And so, and that to me, like I would want my freedom. I would want to be able, and in some ways I think they could have still done both and negotiated things, but I don't know, because the thing is that maybe the royal family was like, we don't want to hear from you at all. Rules changed for each event. Okay. No, she didn't respect her. It's coronation for the king. Okay. So maybe she just didn't bow, or maybe it's the British press making a big deal out of it. Kate to me is like a rule follower. Like she does, she follows all those rules. And she did bow to the queen at the concert later on that night. So I don't know, or the next night. I think Kate and William didn't bow on purpose. Even Charlotte didn't. At the coronation, it seemed like that. Definitely. Harry left just in time. In some ways, it definitely seems that way. Yes, a brilliant royal diss. Yay, Kate. There's no way. Are we going to bring this up, Gregory? Okay. Are you talking about? Okay, you're talking about Harry and his hair plugs. There was a little bit of irony in Harry's joke regarding Will. Personally, I have no problem with the baldness. I think men get more concerned with it than others. But so then there was this shot with Harry coming into the Abbey from above, and it showed his missing. It was more like he had a different type of balding. And so that's probably why you're calling them hair plugs. Not all of Camilla's family, the Pages. Okay. She was the reason the Sussexes left. She was given bad publicity about Meghan because she was afraid they looked better than her. Lots of jealous backstabbing. I mean, young, beautiful couples, I'm sorry, are always going to end up looking better, right? So that's true, what you said, Irene. But when you're old, like you just got to realize, okay, give them the stage, basically. Give them the stage. They didn't think it was dramatic. Okay. what were we, you mean regarding the, I don't know. I missed that. I'm sorry. I missed which one that's about. Anybody who knows New York City knows the truth. Oh, they didn't state it was dramatic regarding the car ride. Well, the announcement they made was that it was near catastrophic. So I didn't make that statement. That's a dramatic statement. So here's the thing. So what I am going to say. Okay, so they didn't say that. We know the British press is dramatic. We know the mainstream media is dramatic. But Harry and Meghan are also dramatic in the way that they make their, like, those words. I think if they would have used different words, honestly, it would have been, they would have had more sympathy and more understanding. I think because they use those words, and in New York, because there's so many famous people, and I lived in New York for years, it's like, no, like New Yorkers don't take that. So that's what I think. I think that was dramatic too. They, that was their statement. It was agreed that Camilla, I'm going to take a couple more questions and then we will call it a day. It was agreed that Camilla would be known as princess. Oh, yes. Princess consort when Charles became king. Yes, because they are both divorcees and were married in Windsor Town Hall in a civil ceremony, not Church of England. Yeah. And Prince Philip, of course, then I was told that, yeah, but if a man marries the queen, that he will always be prince because they don't want him having more authority than the queen. So he would never have had the option of king consort, but Prince Philip was very, very royal. And so he took the Prince consort title, and he was just prince. So there was something, because the queen apparently was adamant for years. And even at the wedding, she just came to the reception because as the head of the Church of England, she didn't want to really show up in church and endorse it. So I don't know. Okay, whether it's proper or to bow to her or not, can we all agree we can't blame them for not? I don't think that's weird to step out of protocol for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could do half the things that, honestly, that Harry and Meghan and Will and Kate kind of have to do in order to be royals. I'm just going to say it. Like, I like to think that I could because I kind of like the romance of it, but I'm positive I would have felt the same way if somebody basically said, okay, do all this work, but by the way, I mean, especially if you've been in entertainment like Meghan, like when you have to do an extra performance or if you're going overtime, you're making a lot of money. So now all of a sudden you've got this office, you're basically paying yourself from it. And then you've got this huge schedule. So I don't know. I think I'm going on on a tangent, but I feel like it would be really hard for them to sometimes have to stick into protocol. And the Camilla thing, I think, is a big one. And I think regarding the coronation, when we were all like, are they going to come? Are they not going to come? I would have a hard time because I tend to be more emotional and all of that. Watching my mother's, like the woman who basically was involved, although apparently DEANNA said she wasn't the cause of the divorce, but as a kid, seeing that he had this affair, now he's marrying this woman, and now she's becoming the queen. I don't care, like as much time as would go by, I would probably sit there. I would probably do my thing, but there would be a part of me that would have to, it's like one of those plug and chug things where you just have to deal with it, right? That's how I probably would feel. I'm just saying. So Evelyn, I feel like, it's protocol. But yeah, I also agree with you. I don't think it's so out there for them to be like, this is because they're not going to do what we would do, which is like, giving them the finger or saying F you or something on the side. I'm not saying that we would, but I'm just saying that we might be a little bit more bold. So their way of, I'm going to protest by not bowing. Maybe nobody will notice, or maybe they'll get a little mention. But then the royal family did their own kind of protest by putting Harry behind the, the fan thing. And also apparently they were in charge of the cameras, and, Harry got, his hairline shown. So, they were playing it too. I'm going to take a couple more questions. Aussie Media is saying Prince Harry has moved out of their home and he is, yeah. Okay. So there's a lot of that, but I also think, so what she's saying is that she's bringing up the fact that we've all heard this news. I think it comes from Paul Burrell mentioning it, but I think other people have that he's spending an awful lot of time in a hotel, even though he has a big house. But his people are denying it. So I don't know if it's just like, okay, the news cycle, now we got to find up new stuff after the coronation because there's really not a lot to talk about. Or if, I mean, personally, I think it's got to be really hard. I mean, under the best of circumstances to try to stay married in this drama, I don't know. And I know that some people could say it's self-imposed, but it's dramatic. Harry was very disrespectful about Camilla in his book and interviews. We know he didn't like her for about 17 years and is his father's wife. He asks for respect about Meghan, but he insults. Yeah, so I guess like, I mean, it's true. It's like, I feel like Harry gaslights a lot. I want to believe him, but he'll say things and it's not a lie. It's not a lie. I'm sure Camilla did that. And then they do the same thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All right. I think the divorce was finalized a year before she died. The divorce, yeah, Camilla had a divorce, then Diana had the divorce, and then she died. Okay. I don't trust this Paul. Many people don't. I think he is a social climber. Okay. Just like probably also Meghan and Harry have somebody similar with Omid Scobie. She doesn't deserve to have them bowing to her. Okay. So basically the consensus is it is royal protocol. They're supposed to bow. Did they bow? Did they not bow? Does she? Because even if we think she doesn't deserve it, like we get to choose. That's why we have people standing for the flag or taking the knee to the flag, because that's kind of the world that we live in. In the royal circles, I don't think it's like you're a princess, you need to bow to the queen, right? So I think when they do that, it's definitely a big, hey, like this is a serious move on her part. Charles was not a widower when he already divorced. Wait, he already was divorced from Diana. Yes. Officially a divorcee. As the future head of the Church of England, he's supposed to set a good example. And that is true. He was not a widower. He was divorced. That is 1,000% true. So that's why it's a little sketchy. Okay, so guys, I am in the Midwest. I had a very rough ride from Florida to the Midwest with being like followed on the highway. It was awful. You can look at my short for that. Just be careful when you're on the highway. And I'm going to be here and I'll be doing some videos locally of my ancient house. I'm literally living in a 160-year-old home that was my great grandparents. You know how you go to a history, like a house. Oh, this is Thomas Jefferson's house. Oh, this is, I don't know, Betsy Ross's house, one of those old houses and the floors kind of creak and you're walking around and the ceilings are shorter, all that stuff. That's how this house is. But it is a house that I spent a lot of time with. I don't have all of the money to make all the changes, but there's a lot of fascinating things going on here in the Midwest that I want to share with you guys regarding this house historically and otherwise. We're not just going to talk about royal stuff, but I love to talk about royal stuff. So we will continue to do this maybe once a week, but we're also going to go live with some other things to talk about. So I hope you guys do well. All of you, I appreciate every single one of you, all the different opinions, all the different comments. 8 years after in a car crash was mourned the world over. Prince Charles, her widower and heir to the British throne, weds his longtime mistress. What was that? I don't know why they would call him a widower. So that must be something we need to research. Weren't there reports Camilla was jealous of Kate? Yeah, we kind of went through that. There's no such thing as a king consort. Yes, this is to you, Coconut Vanilla. Prince consort Philip had to be Prince, so he did not outrank. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, guys, thank you all, every single one of you, for coming tonight, and we will be back. And please be looking for some of the vlogs that I'm going to make about the cemetery visits that I have here. And I will talk to you, and the house. And I'll talk to you all soon. Please subscribe. Please share. Let's try to get to the bottom of all of this. If you find out any kind of news, is Harry at home? Is he not at home? Like, is Kate and Will, are they okay? What about Camilla and the King? Let's talk about Prince Andrew. It's interesting stuff. I do think that their news cycle is like, let's move on in general. It's not as crazy right now, thank goodness. But let's address it. So anyhow, good night, everybody. We will talk to you all soon.